Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it is Thursday. It's August 9th. This will be our chart lesson for today, and this is going to wrap it up for the week. No chart lessons on Friday, so this will wrap our week up. We'll be back again to do it Monday, but this will do it for today. It was another range day today, pretty slow, pretty flat. Um, the lows were very clear. The highs were the same highs from yesterday. You can see. We're really finding strong resistance around that 26 or 2862, 2863 area right in there. And you can see that's exactly where we turned down yesterday. That same area the previous day. So for whatever reason, a lot of selling comes in at that point. And those are always going to be on range days. They're places you want to get short at. And wherever your support is, that's where you want to get long. Most of your trades are going to be off this support area down here, which you didn't get many. Really, your support ended up here, and most of your selling is going to be off this resistance up here. And this is just a midline. You can see that equal distance in there, and I actually think this is one tick higher right there is where it fits better. I think I accidentally moved it while I was looking at this early. You got a little support here as well. So anyway, not a lot of trades today. Couple more than usual. But let's talk about the trades. When I came in, we were working up. We'd been working up since basically the open yesterday afternoon at 3:30 or whatever. And we'd been working up that whole time through the overnight. And really, when I came in, we were working down right in here. And so actually, I think we were working down right through here, rather. And this was really, really tempting. If you'd have taken this, it probably would have been a 4-tick failure for you. It is right off the trend line, but it's right into these highs. And if you use the stems up here, you would have had room, but notice it didn't get there. Again, it only went 4 ticks if you used a buy stop. So the only way you could have gotten in this was if you put a limit order, let it break higher and put a limit order right at the top, and then you would have had enough to get out. I still think that's not giving you enough room to get out because you really need to pay attention to these closes. The one thing I do like is the closes are, even though the stems are the same, the closes were a little higher, and even here they were a little higher. So it looks like it's picking up steam. But when you got this double test here, a lot of people jumped out. You test this twice and it doesn't get through there, and this closes fairly bearish. It's more, closed right in the upper half, but um, it still opened up and closed down, so it's still a slightly bearish bar. It's not bearish enough. I'm going to take a short there with no break of the trend line. But again, on this trade here, the only way to play that would be to try to get in a tick or so back. Just make sure you got enough room, and you wouldn't have probably got filled to tick back into it. You would have gotten filled on a limit order right here at the uh, top of that bar, and that would have given you enough to get out. But I didn't mark it because I just don't think it's worth it. And then of course now we pull back again, and again that bar's, I'm not going to go short there for the reasons I just said. It's right into that trend line. There is some support right across here as well on the on this bounce up, and you see 1, 2, 3, 4 bars closed or touched right across there. So I'm not going to go short into that. But then it comes down here and it makes that little drop below, and even down here it makes 1 tick lower, and so that gives you, and it reverses. So now you got room to get out. So now you want to look at going long. And again, this actually goes straight up there and again turns down right off those same highs. You do have a break now, but you don't have a new high, so I still don't like that. And again, right here, it's too close to the highs again, and you've done turned down there way too many times to risk going long there now. And it actually turns back down, but again, you don't want to go short into this stuff. If you did go short right here, you probably got burned. You would have lost. And really we're just kind of stuck between this over the day's midline, or the bigger range is midline, and this resistance right here. And so it bounces again, and again you don't have long to get enough room here, and then it turns down again. If you could get into this one, now that we've made a double test of that high again, I mean, look how many times you've tested that. That's a relatively small bar. If you could get in, if you let it break lower and you got a limit order with enough room to get out before coming back down, you can see I just copied this trend line and moved it over, and we kind of crawled up that. So you might consider a short right there. I think it's still a little risky. It's not a perfect signal bar. It's mostly bearish. Let me get this on here and then we'll come back to it. It's mostly bearish. You could have let it break lower and dropped a limit order, maybe a tick or so back, just to get a little closer, give yourself a little more room, but it went right back down to this line and bounced again. So you might consider that one. This bar's too big. This bar broke lower and turned up. You don't have enough room. It does push on through and then pulls back. And really you could treat it, and this actually went lower and turned and it opened right here, closed, traded down, and then turned back up and went back out the other side. If you might put a buy stop right there if it went back out and take it. And you might have just let this one close and put a buy stop right there. You wouldn't have got filled on this one probably because it gaps over it. Notice how it gapped over that line, goes on up, and it goes right to the overnight highs. But this is a breakout pullback long, and this is pretty much a double bottom. So a first entry, second entry. So it's like a failed second entry short. It's a breakout pullback long. It does test the support and hold. Look at all three of those closes hold up there. So there's some reasons to like that one. And it pushes on up and tests this high and tests the high from yesterday. And that turns out to be your overnight high. You might have considered this trade. It's fairly bearish. This one is definitely bearish. So, but I don't like entering way back down here without enough room back to that EMA because it might bounce just like it did, and you probably wouldn't have enough room to get out. But you might enter this one because you do have. Well, let me get this marked and we'll come back to it. You do have your break of the channel more than a couple of legs up. It's really two legs there and then another leg here, and you're way away from the EMA. You're turning down right off. You actually get a little failed break because it actually goes a tick higher there, and it's a relatively small bar, so you might go short there. You probably would have had to use a limit order because notice how it gaps over. And earlier I had this line right there, and notice how it gapped right over it. I see that all the time. Of course, when you get that close, I moved it up, and you get more touches of the highs of the bars, that one, and that one, and then that one, and then even later this one. So it ends up being there. But earlier I had it right there on those closes, and notice how it gapped over there. So that was like a little failed break higher. And so you may take that one, but because this trend line's been holding, it's a possibility that was the trend line and this is a midline right here. And you see how that fits, but I still think it's right here. But you couldn't be sure about what this was. So, and maybe it is like I just showed you. Doesn't matter. You still turn down off the highs. And except you may try to make a retest, and maybe that's why prices went back up here. Also, I would just measure this first leg up, and from that correction there, I'd look for a measured leg. You see we got that to within a tick. We missed it by maybe a tick. So, but anyway, back to the trades. You get your lower high here, and it turns down right off that line. Nice bearish bar. I like that one. And then you get a failed second entry long here. The only problem is now we've bounced here a couple of times, and if it bounces here again, like it did, you may get stopped out. Of course, you would have survived that, but you don't know that ahead of time. And so I've been a little leery going long right there. You definitely don't want to be going long. We just came off the highs, and this trend line's in play. So when we came back to it here and made a little lower double top and a second entry short with a bearish bar, now I like going short. And again, you might let this break lower and drop a limit order, maybe a little bit, a tick back in that, just to give you a little room in case it does bounce like it did right here a couple of times. But this one takes on off, and the bottom just kind of falls out, and you get a little overshoot here, and it reverses. And I don't see any more shorts in here. This is a possible long because look at all that across there, and it's a little failed break lower. So again, that one probably should have been green. I kind of like that trade. It's so far away from the EMA. It is an overshoot of your channel. A lot of reasons to like that one. It's a little aggressive, but it's also, notice how you got those two lows, and it's another test of those lows and the little failed break lower. That's what I really like. A lot of times you'll catch, and we could have taken off higher from here, and you might have got a measured move equal to this whole move up. You might have got a second leg. So it's worth risking. You still get a nice move, and you would have had a runner there, but you didn't have a break of this yet. So that's another reason this probably needs to be green. But it is an overshoot, and a lot of times on an overshoot, you don't get a close and a retest, even though it did turn out that way this time. But you're moving up. You try to go lower here, you get that resistance at the trend line at the EMA. And even though we didn't break lower, that's an attempt to go lower, and then we move on up and you get another leg. You got one leg correction, then a second leg, and you try to go lower. That's basically a failed second entry short, and that's the first break of this trend line. So we're probably going to shoot on up there and try to test those highs. So I like that one as a failed second entry short. And after two measured legs up, and you know prices are probably going to attempt a retest of this, and maybe this is even going to be a retest of this high in case this was your channel that looked more like that versus the way I've got it here. But this is the way I ended up playing it, so I'm going to leave it that way. So I like that one. It didn't go all the way back to the top, but it still works. And then look how you shoot back down. You go right through the EMA. You make a lower high. You come back up. You make a lower low. You come back up and make a lower high. Big bearish bar right off a possible trend line. I like going short there. And that takes you into the 2 o'clock hour, but you can ride that one all the way down. I probably would have exited down here when it reached this level. But I would also, excuse me, I'm still having a little problem with my throat. It's been doing this the last 2 days. I feel like I've been talking too much, but that's not the case. I don't know what's going on. That would have given you a target of here, but we went on down, and this would have probably been my target, really, these overnight lows. If you keep going, that would be where I'd look to exit if prices keep moving. So a few more trades today than what we have been having. Not a lot still. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 either blue or red ones, and a few greens that you could argue a couple of them either way. That possibility. So not a bad trading day, considering that we just had another range day. But just be careful around this level here, getting long into that, because it's been holding for days now. And so they'll probably continue to pick up some resistance. Eventually they'll push it on through probably. But as many times as we tried it, I wouldn't be surprised if we don't trade down. You can see we are trading down, you know, I wouldn't say considerably, but considering we were trading at 28.62 today, we're down here at 28.50. So 10 or 12 points, we're trading lower from the highs this afternoon. It wouldn't surprise me if we don't work lower a little bit, since we're having trouble getting through here. So that's generally what will happen. If you can't go higher, eventually it's going to go lower. And eventually if it can't go lower, it's going to go higher. So, and it may just go back and forth between a couple of levels for a few more days. Who knows what it's going to do. But Just follow the price action. Let the price action tell you what it's going to do. So don't try guessing. But anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. Hope you had a good week. We'll be back again Monday to start over another week. Um, we're already a week or so into August, man. The months are just flying by. I expect this market to pick up soon. Usually in the fall it does. This might be an unusual fall, I don't know, but I expect it to pick up soon. So we'll see. But anyway, I'm done for today. We'll be back again Monday. Hope you have a great weekend. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com.